Good morning, Year 9s. It's Mr. Man here and with my daughter, and this is Millie. Say hi, Millie.
Hi.
Hi. Hopefully we have quite a few of you on today. We're going to be doing a choux pastry today. We're going to be doing a savoury choux pastry today, so it'd be great to have as many of you clicking along as we can today, which would be lovely. But if you're joining us from Talkie Girls Grammar, fabulous to see you. Thank you very much. If you've got any issues, just write down the sides here, any comments, questions and queries as we're going along, and we can get back to you. That would be great. So they're just down the sides. If you're watching this on YouTube, just leave your comments along the bottom. That would be great as well, and we can get back to you on that as well. Millie and me are going to cook along today, and like I say, what we're going to be cooking today is a Gougère pie. Okay, so Gougère, it's like a savoury choux pastry, and we're going to be doing that with a sauce inside, a Mornay sauce, which is like a white sauce, and it's got a little bit of cheese in it. But I'm going to show you how to be making a roux sauce today. So we're going to be making choux pastry and roux sauce today as part of our wonderful piece there. So that's what we're all going to be doing today. I'm going to be showing you these different skills today. So any questions you've got, if you put those down the sides, or if you want to, if you're watching this on YouTube, you can watch it along the bottom. So thank you very much for everybody joining us today from Talkie Girls Grammar. And I say, if you're watching this again on YouTube, thank you for watching us as well. I know we're going right across the world now. These lessons are going to, say, Canada, China now, which is brilliant. So if you're joining us from China at Talkie Girls Grammar, thank you very much. And Africa. So we've got them there. And which parts of Africa have we got it in? Can you remember what part that was? We're down just down the coast there on the east coast there of Africa. We're being watched there as well. So brilliant to have you on join us at Talkie Girls Grammar. And I say, if you've got any questions for Talkie Girls Grammar, just put your comments down the side there, and I will come to those questions as we're going along. If you're watching this back on YouTube, just put the comments on the bottom, then we'll get back to you. So great to have you on board today for a Gougère, which is a type of savoury choux pie. Now, I know we didn't mention this before, but I've sent the recipe off to the girls. They've had that one yesterday, the weekend, to have a look at the recipe. For everyone who's watching this on YouTube, I'm going to post the recipe up in a minute so you can see. The only addition that we've just put in when we're doing this one over the weekend is it's really nice with a bit of bacon or ham in it. So if you've got any of that close to hand, really works nicely with that to go in with the cheese sauce. Which is going to go in baked up in the centre of our Gougère or savoury choux. So welcome to those attending. Thank you for joining us today. Any questions and queries? Can you all hear us there? Can you just give us a thumbs up down the side or a little comments down the side to know that you can hear me this morning? I know there's some students who've already messaged me that are going to be watching this back, and that's fabulous. If you're watching this, if you're on Talkie Girls Grammar, then you can obviously pause, rewind whenever we're going along today, and you can watch this back at any point. And the same obviously is true with YouTube. You can obviously pause, rewind and carry on. But so some of our students I know are joining us a little bit later on tonight, which is great. They're cooking at home tonight. Some can't cook along directly, but if you can watch along, that would be great. And so we'll know you're there. Brilliant. So we got a few attendees there this morning, and today we are making a Gougère pie, a savoury choux. So that's a savoury choux pie with a beautiful sauce in the middle, creamy sauce in there with cheese in it. We're going to whack some bacon in there as well, just to zazz it up. But it'll be a beautiful Gougère pie. And this is Mr. Man. This is my daughter Millie. Say hello, Millie.
Hi.
Hi. Right. So I think we're nearly ready to get going. We'll just give it a couple of minutes for any more just to join us, and then we'll get going. And before we start to cook, we need to be going through some food hygiene, which is normal basic food hygiene to start. Before we start to cook, we need to know how to get ourselves ready, our place area, and what we're going to cook with ready. So that's our first bit. We're going to do the same as we would do for any food lesson in class. Okay, so let's go into this one. I'm going to just show you with the PowerPoint for today. Let's send this one live. So we've got the Gougère pie, which, as I say, it's a savoury choux with a Mornay sauce there, and that's what we're going to be looking at today. Now, before we start, we need to get ourselves ready. So to get ourselves ready for a practical lesson, you need to get yourself ready, you need to get your area ready, you need to get your equipment ready. And that's what we call HATI. Okay, so you know what HATI stands for, and if you don't know, let me give you a quick reminder. For those watching on YouTube, I'm using the Hodder Dynamic package here, Hodder Education Dynamic package. That's for exploring food and nutrition for Key Stage 3 as my templates here. So a really good package there from Hodder. Okay, so what does Hattie stand for? Hattie stands for hair, H. Tie your hair back or wear a hat and wash your hands properly, particularly important at these peculiar times. And then you need to be getting an apron on. A is for apron. Get yourself covered to cover yourself so you protect yourselves from the food and the food from yourself. T, let's clean that tabletop with antibac spray, or let's clean it down, make sure it's nice and safe. And very important, we keep our spaces and areas safe and clean when we're cooking at the moment, especially again at peculiar times. The next one is a T for a tray, always very useful tool to have to collect the next two, which is I for ingredients and E for equipment. Okay, so that is what HAT stands for, and that is what we call the mise en place. Mise en place is our put in place. It comes from the French word to mean put in place. Okay, so let me go back to myself, and then what we'll do is we'll do all that together and we will get ready to go. So let's do all that together. So Millie, we're gonna get ourselves ready. Let's go and hop, skip and a jump around our kitchen over here. So we'll say welcome to our kitchen here, and we were going to sort of joining you in your kitchens, which is a great thing to do. So here we go. I'm just going to pop over to the sink here. Now, very important when we're doing this, we clean our hands properly. Okay, so we just move the camera around there so you can see what we're doing. Very important that you clean your hand properly. So we've got the hand gel. Thank you very much. We've got some soap there. So we're just going to put some soap on our hands there. Now we need to brush our hands backwards and forwards like that, as you would do normally. That's fine. But then we need to go inside those nails, one side, inside the nails, the other side. Make sure they're cleaned properly. Don't forget your thumbs. Let's get your thumbs nice and clean. And let's do the back of the hands. Back of the hands. You're doing well, Millie. There we go. She's doing it as well. Back of the hands. And don't forget those wrists. All right. Soap everywhere. Lathered up. Now what we need to do is we need to get some hot soapy water. So hot soapy water. Do the same again. We're going to go backwards and forwards like that. There we go. And then we're going to go into the nails. Into the nails. We're going to do back of the hand. Back of the hand. And we're going to get those wrists and make sure they're all ready. And you know this now. It's been on loads on the government now. You know we're doing this for 20 seconds. Okay, so if you're unsure how long we're going to do this for, 20 seconds is good for it. And then we'll just get some paper towel and dry our hands off there. And we'll just get rid of that and put that into the bin. Okay, so just do the same. There we go. Well done, Millie. Hands cleaned, ready to go. There we go. So we've got our hands clean. We're nearly ready to go. I don't need to worry about my hair. I've not got enough to tie back. Millie, got yours hair tied back already. Fabulous. Let's get our aprons on. There we go, Millie. There's your apron. Let's get my apron on as well. I've got my school chef whites on there. Ready to go. Oh, here we go. I'll keep all the lights on today. It's not as nice as it has been. I hope it's good there. It's been a little bit murky today, but that's okay. It's okay. We're back at school today. We had a lovely weekend, so I'm hoping you had a lovely weekend too. There we go. Wherever you are. So just make sure, like I say, we're all ready to go. Make sure you've got your aprons on and you're clean and ready to go. Roll the sleeves up, ready to go. Millie's already got hers rolled up. Well done. So grab my apron. Here we go. Let's grab my apron. Put my apron on as well. All right. Tie that one up. All right. So we're going to go back to our work area. And we're going to go through the recipe, and then we're going to make a start. Okay, Millie, you want to bring us down? So we're just going to come back, and we're just going to go back to our work area here. Fabulous. Okay, so don't forget to make sure your work area is lovely and clean. We've done that already, so lovely clean workspace there. And we go, lovely clean, you can see there. And we're going to be showing you a bit about that one today. All right. So today, what are we going to be doing? We're going to be making today a savoury choux, which we call a Mornay sauce. Sorry, savoury choux from Gougère with a Mornay sauce in it. So Gougère. Okay, that is how we're spelling a Gougère. Now Gougère, it was Gougère pie really. We're going to call it, but as it's very cool, that's what it is. It's a Gougère pie. Now Gougère pie is going to include a few very high skill things. So for year 9s, you're thinking of going into GCSE, taking this for food, if you've chosen that as an option. Here are some of the key skills we're going to be demonstrating that you would be doing at GCSE. So the first one is going to be pastry making. Okay, so we're going to be making a pastry. So pastry making is a high skill piece for GCSE. Now there's a few key high skills when we're cooking at home. So we've got 5 or 6 of those. So let's go through those ones. So firstly, you've got yourself a pastry, which is what we're going to be doing today. As well as pastries could be a choux pastry, a short crust pastry, a laminated pastry. So there's quite a few different types of pastry we're going to go through at GCSE. Today we're going to be doing a choux pastry. So let me just spell that one for you. That's C-H-O-U-X. Okay, choux pastry. Now, the next one, as well as pastry, you've got bread making. You've got, as well as bread making, you've got pasta making, and you've got sauce making. And today we're going to be doing a roux sauce. That's a type of sauce, okay, which is called a roux. And we're going to be doing a Mornay roux. Okay, so we'll put that one up there. Now, let's get that one up there. Now, sauces are very interesting, and we're going to talk about those a little bit more about. There's different types of sauces. So we talked about that. We could had pastry making, you've got bread making, you've got sauce making, you've got pasta making, and you've got high knife skills. So you've got filleting fish and deboning chicken. All of those are like your big high skill ones. There are other ones that go addition with that, which is your garnishing and presentation, so your decoration and presentation. So we're going to cover two of your high skill pieces that you'd be using for GCSE today, and that would be an advanced pastry called a choux pastry and an advanced sauce called a Mornay, which is a type of roux sauce. Now, sauces are a really interesting one, but before we start to get into this one, I'm going to just talk to you through a little bit more about these different types of sauces, because there's quite a few different types of sauces. Okay, so there's three thicknesses of sauce. Let's go with those first. There's three thicknesses of sauce. The first type of sauce that you could have, and let's do this one here. We've got 1, 2, 3. Okay. First one, let's go with the first type of sauce you could make. The first type of sauce you could make would be what we call a pouring sauce. So a pouring sauce. So can you think of a sauce, Millie, that we would pour onto food? I know Alex likes it a lot. Something you like to pour. Yeah, a watery gravy might be a pouring sauce. Yeah, that would be a good one. So we could have that sort of sauce, and that's when you literally pour it. It's like a liquid. Okay, so the next one would be a slightly thicker sauce. And that's what we call a coating sauce. So that's the sort of sauce that if you squeeze it out of a bottle, it's going to leave like a line. Okay, it's going to leave an indent. What do you like to put on your food? Lots more than Alex does from the squeezy bottle. Well, not squeezy bottle. Ketchup. So a ketchup would be a coating sauce because that's a thicker one. If you put a line of that or part of that, it's not going to move too much. That's kind of like what we call a coating sauce. Then the third thickness, which is the thickest of the lot, is what we call a binding sauce. Okay, now binding sauce is going to something that is going to join things together. It's quite a thick one. You could use it with potatoes to make fish cakes or potato croquettes, those sort of things. It's going to be used to bind ingredients together to make them into something. So that's a really, really thick sauce. So pouring, coating, but binding. Another word for binding that we use is we actually call it a panada sauce. Now, panada sounds like panda. It's not panda. We're not going to be cooking any pandas today. But panada is the really, really thick. So you've got three different thicknesses of sauce. Now, just to make it a little bit more interesting, there are three different ways of making it as well. Now, you could make a sauce, an all-in-one sauce, which you put all the ingredients into one, make it all up together. The flavor's not brilliant. Okay, it works. It's a little bit grainy, it's a little bit floury, but you could use that one. So we've got the all-in-one method for making the sauce. All in one. Right, what other methods could you use? Another method you could use to make it would be where you blend the ingredients one after the other after the other. You put one, and again, the blending it in together is okay, and you can mix that one up and blend it out. Again, it's fast, it's a quick way of doing it, but you've got kind of a floury taste. It's not the best. And then you've got this, so we've got blended, and then we've got the roux. Okay, now the roux method is the best, and it's the only one that we do in school here because there's no point in teaching the other two. It takes longer, it's a little bit tricky, but this method of making the sauce is by far the best. And we are going to do a roux method, and that's R-O-U-X. Okay, it's a bit like the choux, H-C-H-O-U-X. And you might get a little bit confused later between the roux and the choux. Okay, the choux is a pastry. Okay, so choux, pastry, roux, sauce. Okay, they look a little bit similar. They got an O-U-X, but we got a choux for a pastry and a roux for a sauce. Okay, that's the way we make it. And we're going to try and go for today. We're going to go somewhere between a binding and a coating sauce. Okay, so we're going to go for a real thick sauce when we make this one. So that's what we're looking to do today. So we're going to go for a roux, making a roux sauce. So we're going to do a proper posh way of making a sauce. And we're going to try and go for a thick sauce, a binding or panada sauce. So there we are. It's quite a bit of advanced skills we've got going on today. Right, let's go back to it. Let's go and have a look at the actual recipe then. So I'm going to take you to the recipe, and so you've got that, and have a look, and we'll just quickly talk through the method because it's quite complicated. So I want to just make sure we've done this one. So we've got ourselves ready. Let's go here. This is the Gougère pie. Now we're going to do this in step by step. Okay. Now the first 3 steps are how to make yourself the sauce. Okay, so this is what we call the sauce. Is what, Millie? What is the sauce? Roux. Sorry, say it loudly to the camera. Roux. Roux, absolutely. We're going to make a roux sauce. What sort of roux sauce are we going to be making? Are we making a pouring, a coating, or a binding? Binding. Binding. Oh, yeah. So we're making quite a thick one. And can you remember what the name for the binding one was, Millie? Shout to the camera. Go on. That's right. You had it right. Panada, yeah. So we're going to be making a thick one there. So we're going to be making that one up today. So that's our first one we're going to be making, and that will be the roux. Okay, so this is our sauce, and that's step 1 to 3. We'll do that one over at the hob. Okay, in a bit. The next bit, 4, 5, and 6. So we've got the first 3 are going to be the sauce. 4, 5, and 6 are going to be making the pastry. Now this is an odd pastry because it goes against everything else we've done as far as making pastry up till now, and I'll talk to you about that. But 4, 5, and 6 is making our choux pastry. Once you've done that, we make a ring of our choux pastry around the outside of a baking dish, a flan dish. If you've got cake tins, small shallow tins or trays, you can use. Any of those will be done. And then in the center of that, we will put the sauce with cheese. And if you can put some bacon in there, it is absolutely amazing. Okay, so that is what we're going to have a go at. So let me just go through that, and I'm going to talk you through the pieces here. So some advanced skills. Doesn't look like a lot to do today, but it's quite advanced and difficult skills to get right. So I'm going to go through this step by step. Okay, let's go back. All right, so we've said what we're going to make. Let's talk you through how to do this one. The first thing we're going to make is a sauce. Now, you need to know how to make a sauce. A sauce is key to everything you do, okay? So it's one of your key skills, and you need to, it's just a good life skill to have, is to be able to make a good sauce. And so I'm going to show you the proper way of doing this one. Now, to do this one, we're going to be going over to the hob, and I'm going to show you step by step how to do this one. You can have a look at the recipe card as well if you want to, but I'm going to show you step by step how to make this sauce. And it's a very good skill to have, but if you've not done it before, we're going to test you and have a go with this one. So this is our step 1 to 3. You're going to need a couple of ingredients. You're going to need fat and flour that you normally use for making a pastry, and we're going to need a liquid to bind it all together. Now the liquid we're going to use is a water-based liquid. Okay, so we're going to use water. We could use milk. In fact, we might use milk actually for this one, but you can use water is fine. We'll get some milk or water. It's either on that one. Just creates a slightly different flavour to it. But we need fat and flour. Now you normally use fat and flour for any kind of pastry, but if you think about, let's think, Millie, if you're making a short crust pastry, so you use fat and flour. What would you do with the fat and the flour? So you've got your flour in the bowl, you put your fat in. What was the 2 things you do if you're making a short crust? You're making jam tarts or making a pastry. What would you normally do? Normally use a knife.
Cut it in.
Yeah, you cut it in really, really small. And then what would you do? After you've cut it in so it's quite small, what do you do to add make it even smaller?
Rub it in.
Rub it in, that's it. So you'd rub it in. Now, when you're doing that, you'd add a little bit of cold water to it, because what do you want to keep? Why do you want to keep it cold? What would happen if otherwise?
Because otherwise the butter would melt.
Absolutely, the butter would melt. Now, with most pastries, whether it's a laminated pastry, which is where we stack the pastries up, so like for a croissant or anything like that, where you want them laminated, or for a short crust pastry where you're making a tart, or for a rough puff pastry where you're making like a pasty or something like that, you want to keep the pastry as cold as possible. Really, really important that you don't melt the butter. We're going to turn all of that on that head with a choux pastry. With a choux pastry, we actually want to actually melt everything off. So that's an odd pastry. I'm going to go show you how to do that one. And the same, we're going to actually use the same ingredients when we make our. We're going to heat those up as well when we make our sauce. This is why I was saying you might get confused between choux and roux today. So I'm going to take it step by step and talk you through. Because there's the same two ingredients for when we're making sauce, and the two ingredients here are going to be fat and flour, the same as it would be for a pastry, fat and flour, but we're going to be heating them up on both occasions. So before I go any further, I'm going to take you over to the hob, and we're going to do this step by step, starting off with the sauce rather. So I'm going to make a sauce first, and I'm going to talk you through how to do this one step by step. All right. So let's come over. And we're going to talk you through each different step of the way for this one. Okay, so it might seem a bit odd, but here we go. So I'm going to do. I'm over here at the hob now. Now we're going to need a saucepan. We've got a saucepan. Yeah. We'll do that one later. So let's move that one out of the way. So we've got a saucepan. Now, if you are using a saucepan and it's a non-stick pan like that, a steel pan like that, then you can use a whisk, a metal whisk, because it's not going to. But if you're using a non-stick one, you cannot be using a piece of metal. You want to be using a wooden spoon or a rubber, one of these little whisks. Okay. So, but if we're okay, you've got steel, that's going to be okay. But if you did that with a non-stick pan, all the black bits from the inside of that are going to come off and into your sauce, and you don't want that to happen. So let's get the equipment right first. You should need something like we're going to be using a steel pan here. We're going to use a metal whisk here, and we're going to make this up. Okay. Now let's work on the ingredients. Two ingredients, same as you would do for a pastry. The two ingredients here are going to be our butter and our flour. Now we need equal quantities, and we need to do step by step. So the first thing we need to do is we need to add the fat in there. Now we're going with 25 grams of fat. How are you going to do this one? Well, a nice easy way to know this one is 1 large tablespoon of fat. Okay, so we're going to be doing 1 large tablespoon or 25 grams. Or if you wanted to, if you have a look on the outside of the packet here, these packets of butter or fat actually say 25 grams on there, so you can measure it off quite quickly how much is on there. So if I let's get that one up to a level. Okay, so we can see 25 grams. Yeah. Okay, so we can see 25 grams of fat. It's quite a lot of fat, but if you think about it as a large spoonful, there we go, same sort of thing. If you can't measure that one out, into the pan, go for it. Okay, so we have got our fat in the pan. Now, on a low heat, you want to put this on a low heat? So on a low heat, we're now going to melt that off. Millie's just going to melt off that. Okay, so this is the first stage of making our sauce. We're going to melt off the fat. You are in control of the heat. Do not let the heat be in control of you. So it's really important that we do this step by step. Okay, so we've got that fat beginning to melt in there. You do not want your fat to burn. Okay, you just want to gradually let that one melt off. Okay, so don't let it burn. And we're going to be just looking at it. You can just see it starting to melt off there. Okay, you are in control of the heat at all times. Okay, so do not let the heat think it's in charge of you. Okay, you're in control of that heat at all times. So if you think that it's melting too fast, take it off the heat. That's absolutely fine. So we've got that one. It's melting away nicely, isn't that? Yeah. Okay, so that's good. Fat's in there. Okay, next thing we need to think about is with the fat, we're going to add the flour. Equal quantities. So if you put 25 grams of fat in there, you need to put how much flour in there? 25 grams. 25 grams, absolutely. If you put 1 tablespoon of fat, you want to put 1 tablespoon of flour. 1 tablespoon of flour. We're not going to do that until your fat's completely melted. Okay, so if you're looking at your recipe card, we're going to be doing this step by step. We're melting off the butter, then you're going to have the flour ready to go in there, and you're going to stir this through. But we're going to wait till it's melted. Now, if it's just coming to the end, you might just be able to see that on the camera there. I'll just move the camera down so you can see that's just starting to melt off there. We're nearly all done. If you're nearly all done on the fat, then that's fine. If you're nearly all done on the fat, then what you can do there is we can actually turn the heat off and just remove it from the heat. So you carry on there, Millie. So she's just going to melt that one so it's completely. If you burn it, you're going to end up with a completely different sort of sauce, and the butter will burn very, very quickly. So if you're at the end and it's just in the end, just take it off the heat, put it somewhere else in the hob. That's fine. And are we nearly there? Nearly. So that last little bit, you can either turn off the heat, hold on to the handle, turn off the heat, or just move it on to somewhere else. Okay, so we've now got the stage where we've got them all off. So we're just turning off the heat there?
Yeah.
Perfect. So that's all melted now. She's just turned off the heat. We don't need the heat on there. Take it off the heat. We're going to throw in there 25 grams of flour. Okay, so you've got your flour measured out?
Yeah.
Okay, so again, that could be 1 large tablespoon, which Millie's measured it out, and that's going to go in there. So just tip all of that in. Okay, is that a non-stick pan?
Yes.
No, it's a steel pan.
Steel pan.
So what can we use?
Whisk.
That's it. Perfect. Do you want to use a whisk? We got little teeny tiny whisks. No, we use a big whisk.
Yeah.
There we go. Big whisk, and we're going to stir that together. The idea is that we're going to get all of that stirred in together. It's going to form a lovely paste. Okay, there's going to be a beautiful, lovely paste there, and that's what we're looking to do for you. Have you got a paste in there?
Looks like scrambled egg.
It looks a little bit like scrambled egg. Perfect. That's what we're looking for here. So that's exactly right. That's fine. We got scrambled egg is fine for that one. Can we show that to the camera? Let's have a look. Show everyone on the camera there. Can you see that one over on the camera? A bit closer to the camera, I think, Millie. There we go. So we're looking like a pasty scrambled egg. Now, it's at this point that you can add your liquid. Now we're going to be gradually adding the liquid into this one. So we've got some water there, and we've got some liquid to add into it. But you could add milk into this one as well. We got milk as well, haven't we? I'll tell you what, to make it a really creamy sauce, we're going to add a little bit of milk instead of water. But if you haven't got any milk, just add some water into this one. So we're going to put back on the heat now. So back on the heat. And this is where it becomes a real skill. Okay. What I want you to do now is we're going to just put a little bit of liquid in the bottom of this one. So let's just put the heat back on, continually stirring it. Now, if you just cover the base up there with your liquid, keep going until the base is covered. Okay, and then we put in there about 3 or 4 tablespoons of milk or liquid into that, just so the base is covered. Once it's combined and you've managed to go over the paste, then you can add some more. Is it all gone in? A bit more than Millie. Okay. Now what we're going to do is gradually adding a couple of tablespoons worth of milk or into this one, or water into this one at a time. And as you do so, you're going to create yourself this beautiful roux sauce. So we're just going to gradually do that one. Okay, a bit more liquid, so it's always covered the bottom. There we go. So a couple of tablespoons at a time, and she's gradually bringing that sauce together. There we go. Put that down there. That's good. Okay, that's good. So what we've got there is a sauce. Now it's quite a watery sauce at the moment. And what sort of sauce do we need? Remember?
A thick sauce.
A thick sauce. It's the panda sauce, panada sauce. Now at the moment it's quite liquidy. But what's going to happen is she starts to increase the heat. Something amazing. Some food science is going to be going on there. What's going to happen inside the flour? There are tiny little things. Okay, tiny little bits inside the flour that we call starch. Okay. And the starch inside that flour, what's going to happen to it? It's going to expand as it gets hotter and hotter, and it's going to eventually, but it's going to keep expanding so that it's got nowhere to move past each other, and eventually it's going to burst. Okay, now that starts to thicken at around about 60 to 80 degrees, so they get a bit bigger and bigger as they begin to absorb water or liquid into them. And as they do that, they can't move past freely, and then eventually, bang, they burst, releasing something called amylose pectin into the liquid. But as it begins to thicken, it's already done it. Perfect. Heat off. So what happens is it bursts, and it's a real quick burst. Okay, so you'll be stirring and stirring like a liquid, and then all of a sudden it's thickened, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So here we have it, and you can see there that sauce has now thickened all of a sudden, and that's that bursting, that's that gelatinization. As the starch in the flour begins to expand, it takes on water, and as it does so, they burst, and then releasing this this stuff that's inside them, the amylose pectin, releasing that into the mixture, and then you've got a sauce. So that is how it works. Now you might find that your sauce is a little bit runny. Okay, so, and you might think, oh, it's not doing it. Eventually it will happen. You just keep stirring and stirring and stirring, and you'll end up with a beautiful sauce. You might have to add a little bit more flour into it because there might not be enough starch in there. You might need to add a little bit more liquid into there because the measurements might be a little bit skew one way or another. Okay, now when we do this at GCSE, we get you to make a sauce without using any measurements because you should be able to know, because it's equal quantities of flour, equal quantities of fat. Start by melting your fat, getting that down to a base, putting the flour on there, stir that in to make a paste, and then once you've done that, you gradually add your liquid into it. Now that's your basic roux, like your white sauce, your bechamel sauce, okay, which is great. But we want to create something else from that, and you can create loads of different sauces from that. So we could add liquid stock. So you know that sort of stuff that you get maybe after a roast, you get that kind of liquidy stock, meaty stock you could use. You can buy stock, liquid stocks nowadays in little capsules. You add a stock to that, vegetable meat stocks, you know, the sort of things we can have in there. If you add that to it, that suddenly becomes what we call a roux velouté sauce, which is another advanced one. What we're going to be doing is a Mornay sauce. So we're going to add some cheese in that. Right, cheesy sauce? Yeah. Good. Right, go grab the cheese. So we're going to add some cheese into that one to turn that one into a different one. Now we're also going to add a little bit of bacon in there because it's quite nice. The cheese and bacon works really nicely. Cheese and ham also works nicely. See, with this base sauce, we can do all sorts of amazing stuff with. And that's, like I say, one of the high skills of GCSE is being able to not only create it from scratch, but you're also being able to, as well as creating it from scratch, you can then make other sauces from it. So we got cheese grater. She's got a teeny tiny cheese grater again. You've got a teeny tiny cheese grater. That's no good. That's for a nutmeg. There we are, big cheese grater. So we need a big cheese grater. We're going to get some cheese into there. So do you want to get some cheese into there? About a tablespoon's worth of cheese into that one. Okay, so we've got some cheese there. Go straight into there. Save ourselves a washing up. So we're going to be putting that one straight into our sauce there. And then it's nice and warm. It's just going to melt off in there. Now, if you want to, you can make slightly more of this sauce. That's fine. You can add a little bit more into that one. Is that nice enough? About a tablespoon's worth. Do you want a bit more cheese? It's up to you. Fabulous. And we're going to leave that. It's okay to leave that to cool because that's going to cook off and form the centre of our choux pie. So it's like almost like a quiche then. So you've got that one in there. Do you want to turn the heat up again a bit more in there? And we just stir that one through. Just melt the rest of that cheese off into the sauce there. Fabulous. Stirring that one through. That's going to be a bit thick.
Very thick.
Very thick. We can always add a bit more liquid then to it. But we want it to be quite thick because it's going to be a binding sauce, that panada sauce. So we want it to be quite thick. It's going to form the centre of our pie, okay? So it's going to be cooking off and forming the centre of our pie. It's quite a creamy pie as well, almost like I say a quiche filling. It's that creaminess to it, but with bacon and cheese. Oh, it's lovely. Really, really nice. Okay, we got that one in there. Nice sauce in there. Is that coming together? It's a bit thick or still thick, isn't it? We need it to be quite thick. Taste it. Oh, that's good. That's good. Now you can add something else into here as well. You could add a little bit of mustard powder. Goes really quite nicely. We've got some there. Yeah. So a little bit of mustard powder goes quite nicely. A bit of nutmeg goes quite nicely into there. So all these things go really nicely into these ones. So I'm just going to add a little bit into that one. In fact, I might just save that powder for. No, we'll save it for the choux. We'll save that one for the choux. So I've got a basic sauce here. You can add things to this one. Is that good? All good?
Yeah. Yeah.
All nice and thick. So now we're going to move that. We're going to add something else to it. We're going to add some bacon to that one. Like bacon? Yeah. Good. Put that to the side. Put that to the side. Make sure your pan handles are facing outwards. Okay. So let's do some bacon with that one. Let's get some nice sort of spray there. So you can do it like a spray type fat with this one, or you can dry fire if you want to as well. I'm just going to get a little bit of bacon into that one. And again, well, this one is a non-stick pan. Aha, it's black base, so we're going to use a wooden spatula just to move this one around. Not a metal one this time because you're going to scratch it. We've got some bacon. Just that. Some bacon defrosted from there. Okay, how do you know if the temperature's hot enough, Millie? Can you remember how you can check your temperature? Do you want to just put your hand above and see? Yeah. So just if you want to check whether it's hot enough, there's a couple of ways you can check whether it's hot enough. It's a bit like a pancake, really. Just move your hand up and down like that. You can feel the heat coming off that one. Some of you have those little red pieces in the middle that will change colour. That's always good to know. If you're using a spray light, you'll find that the whitey creaminess will go, and you'll end up with almost like a water oil on the bottom. That's fine. You can use a little, if you just put your fingers on some water. Okay, just drop that in. It starts to sizzle. Not quite sizzling just yet, is it? When it starts to sizzle, that will be another way to know that you're ready to put the bacon in. We're just using some smoked bacon medallions here. So it's a nice sort of one there. It's a reduced fat type bacon in this one. We'll go with the fry light as well in the top. So it's beginning to get there. Put your hand above the top, see what you feel.
It's quite hot.
Quite hot? Do you think it's good enough? You don't want to put bacon in this one, but how many? If you can put a meat substitute in this, you don't need to put anything into this. You can just keep to a cheesy sauce if you want to. Just try it at the weekend. Really nice with a bit of bacon in this one. So, should we try it?
Yeah.
Go on then. Want to whack that one in there? There we go. Do you want a couple of pieces?
Yeah.
Go on. Whack those in there. For the one? All right. So we got the bacon in there now. Just keep checking on the other side, flip it and have a look, check they're okay. Just going to lightly fry those ones off. Then what we'll do is we'll chop those ones up and we'll put those into our sauce as well. Once we got the sauce, the nice thick panada or binding sauce that forms the centre of our pies, we'll leave that one to cool down, and we're going to get on with our choux pastry. Now, like I said earlier, the choux pastry is very different to a normal sort of pastry, in so much as a normal pastry, why we want to do what? Normal pastry is hot or cold?
Cold.
Cold. We want to keep a normal pastry cold. With this one, we want to do what?
Hot.
We want to make it hot.
Yeah.
Again, it's a bit of an odd one, so we'll get onto that one and talk you through how that one works step by step. We'll be using the hob again, and we'll be using a pan again to do that one. But so don't worry about that. So while Millie's doing that, I'm going to go and get our paste. I'm going to get our sauce. Sorry. No. Yeah, that's done. Put that one over. So while Millie's doing that, I'm just going to get the sauce. I'm going to put that one in a bowl. So get that one all off there. It's all sticking to my whisk, and I'm just going to get all of that up. While she does that, and we'll mix our bacon in with that in a minute. When it cools down, we'll chop it up and we'll go into the sauce with it. Okay. It will do. There we go. Okay. Let's get all of that lovely sauce. Look at that sauce there, beautiful sauce, creamy sauce there. It's going to form the centre of our pies. Okay. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Love it, love it, love it. Okay, how's your bacon going, Millie?
This one's ready, I think.
Okay.
Looks ready.
Looks ready? All right, we'll put it on there, pull down, there we go. Turn your heat off then.
Yeah.
So Millie's just got the bacon there done, and we'll chop that one up in a minute and we'll put it in. If you're worried about whether it's done, that gets it going into the oven, this whole thing. So you're going to be kicking this off again. Okay, well done. All right, bacon cooling down, sauce cooling down. Let me take that one away. Fabulous. We'll remove that one for you, and we'll just get on with everything else here. Now, the next thing we're going to be doing is we're going to be making a wonderful, wonderful choux pastry. So the next thing we're going to be doing is making a choux pastry. I'm just going to get that one. Do you want to just clean that one up for us? That's good. Mind the pan there. Okay, back to you, everybody. Here we go. So we've got our wonderful centre panada. We've got some bacon that's going to be chopped up to go into that as well. Well done. And that'll form the centre. Now, while we're still over here at the hob, we're going to be using either another saucepan, or if you want to, you can wash up the same saucepan. And we're going to be using this saucepan to do the next bit. Okay, so the next bit is our choux. That was our roux. We're now doing our choux. Our roux choux, it can get a little bit confusing at times, but we're going to be moving that forward onto this one. Now, the thing is with this, we're going to be putting some water into a pan. Now, we're doing this the whole wrong way around. If you make... Sorry. if you're making a choux pastry, a normal short crust pastry rather, you would be wanting to, the final thing you want to do is bind it together with some really cold water. With a choux pastry, we're going to actually start with water, and rather than binding it together with ice cold water as you would with a short crust pastry, or you would do if you were using a rough puff or even a laminate pastry, we are going to be using a boiling water to start with. Okay, so we're going to boil up the water, and when we're boiling up the water, we are purposefully going to melt the fat, which seems really odd. It's just it turns the whole of pastry making on its head. But this is how you make a choux pastry. Now, examples of choux pastry would be things such as profiteroles, chocolate eclairs, but we're making a savoury one, which is lovely. It's a really nice savoury one that you can do with this one. We're going to be mixing 2 ingredients with this one. Then we're going to be putting a mustard powder, a little pinch of that, and a little bit of stock as well. A nice little bit of vegetable stock will go into this one as well. So we're going to be making this one off. So we start with boiling water. And how much boiling water? You're going to be needing around about 150 millilitres of water. So I've got my water here ready to go. 150 millilitres of water, which we're going to boil up. So it's not a lot of water, and that'll boil up very quickly. It's going to be quite shallow in the pan there to clean that one off. Are we ready to go, Lily? Okay, just getting the pan washed up there. Well done. Washing up as we go along. All about that food hygiene and food preparation, food organisation. When we're doing these things, make sure we clean as we go. When we get to year 10, the very key when we're doing GCSE is making sure we clean up as we go. Well done, Millie. That's great. So pan on the stove there, Millie, and let's get on from making our roux sauce to our choux. Okay, there we go. Oh, still doing it. Yeah. Happy? Yeah. All right. Well done, Millie. So she's got that one. Yeah, that's it. She's straight into it. So the first thing we need to do is we're going to do the opposite to what we normally do with a pastry, and we're going to start with water, and we're going to make sure that water is boiling. We can go quite high on this one actually to start with, because we want to get as hot as we want to with that. Happy? Yeah, I'm happy with that. Yeah, it's good.
I think it just finished.
Oh, we try again. There we go. Now in the pan there with the water. There we are. It's done, Millie.
Water.
Yeah, so we've got 150 millilitres of water in there, so just pour that straight on in. Not a lot of water, shallow amount, and then with that water we're going to be putting the fat. So the fat with this one is we need to be putting in there is 50 grams of fat. Okay, quite a bit of fat there. So do you want to do that one? Let's get you the knife there. Okay, 50 grams. So rather than using a scale, we're just going to use the very helpful indicators on the butter there. So 50 grams. There we go. You do two dots 25, are you? Okay.
I think that's 50.
Oh, I see. Clever. Go on then.
25 minutes.
Yeah. There we go. So 50 grams. Do you want to show everyone what 50 grams looks like? There we go. That's 50 grams. In it goes into the fat. Now, so we're going to be doing an odd one here. We're going to be boiling the water and the fat together. They won't mix, which is odd. It's going to look like some sort of weird salad dressing or something where you've got like some sort of oil floating on the top of some water. It's going to be odd. But we're going to be mixing this one together. So there we are. Is it starting to melt? Is it looking a bit weird? Is it forming like weird shapes? Yeah, it's almost like a lava lamp. Yeah, sorry?
Like lava circles.
Like lava circles inside a lava lamp. That's exactly what we're looking for with that. So we're going to melt that one off. Is it melting well?
Yeah.
So tell everyone, what's it say?
It's like a lava lamp.
Yeah, it does look cool. It's like a lava lamp. It's some sort of weird thing going on the water there. So that's our start of our choux. We got really now key to getting this right is the next stage. Not only do we need to get the water boiling hot with the butter in this one, but we need to get the flour in really quickly. I mean, really, really quickly. So what we call flashing it in. So we're going to literally flash it in. We're going to throw it in really quickly. Well, now throwing into boiling water is not clever. So what we're going to do is we're going to make like a little funnel. So work with a piece of greaseproof paper. We're going to fold it in half, or any kind of paper. Just use a piece of A4 piece of paper if you want to. We're going to fold it in half, okay, and then we're going to shoot the flour into it. So we're going to measure out the flour, put it onto a sheet of paper, and then shoot it in. Right, if I carry on stirring that, do you want to get the greaseproof paper from the table and the flour?
How much flour?
Oh, good point. So with the flour on this one, we've gone with 50 grams of fat in there, and then with the flour, we need to do is 60 grams of plain flour. Okay, so we've got 50 grams of fat in there. We've got 150 millilitres of water in there, and we're going to be putting 60 grams of flour in there. So do you want to go and get the greaseproof paper, the scales, and the flour? And that's going to be shooting that one in really, really quickly. Okay, so some butter's just still melting on here. So I've got Millie's butter melting there, and we're going to be combining that together. Okay, fabulous. All right, someone's just private messaged me and said, what is that in the background? Right, okay, so yesterday, we were making sourdough croissants. They're just proving in the background there. The sourdough croissant, those ones. I'll put those in the back of the shelf there. Pruning away there. Fabulous. All right, so 60 grams of flour. Millie's got 60 grams of flour here. If you're struggling to get hold of flour, we said it before, but a nice easy way to think about this during lockdown a lot of times is go and speak to the people that would normally providing flour for a corporate basis. So for schools or for restaurants or bars, people that provide them, get in contact with them, email them. So we use a company called Bidfood. Bidfood is a brilliant company that normally provides our school here at Talking Girls Grammar. That's okay. Talking Girls Grammar, and they also now do home deliveries. A lot of these companies do home deliveries. Alternatively, go to your local restaurant or pub that you can walk to, email them and see if they might be able to buy ingredients off them, because they'll have that one in stock, and you might be able to leave it outside and go and collect it. So there's lots of things you can do to still be able to get hold of these during lockdown times if you can't get to a shop, or say your shop is out of stock. Right, Millie.
Yeah.
Have a look at that. Are you happy that that's boiling? Oh, it's okay, don't worry. Is that boiling away?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, next thing is we're going to get a piece of paper, and we're going to be doing this so we can do. Now, you can do all sorts of things with greaseproof paper. Sometimes do a cartouche, which is like a piece on top, pizza, right? We're going to be using it for flashing. Okay, so we're going to be putting our piece of paper in there. So if you put your flour on there. All right. So the flour is now in the centre of our piece of paper, and we can then very quickly, when Millie's ready, flash it in. So we're not going to literally throw it in. We're going to lower this and then literally drop it down the side. So we're going to forming a funnel. We're going to lower it in, and then we're going to flash it in. Now, before we do that one, when you get it in there, be careful not to splash yourself with the boiling water and boiling butter that's in there, because that'll hurt. So get it quite low when you flash it in very quickly. And then once you've done that, you need to beat it. I mean, really, really beat it. Okay. So as soon as that flour is in, you need to beat. And it's very important that you beat this really, really hard. Again, normally pastry, don't want to overwork it. Don't want to overwork it at all. This, overwork it. Really want to bash it together. Okay, so that's what we're going to do with this one. We're now going to get this in here, and we're going to get this in, and we're going to really bash it together. Okay, so here we go. I'm lowering it in. Are you happy?
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. 3, 2, 1. Okay, it's in. Right, and we're going to really stir it really, really quickly and really vigorously. Not to burn yourself. There we go. There we go. I'm going to do that one. There we go. Be careful not to burn yourself, but stir. I'm going to stir it. Okay. And what we're going to do, we can take it off the heat now if you want to. I'm just going to lift it off, and I'm just stirring this one. If you can see this one stirring there, stir. There we go. Here we go. Now, what's going to form is like a paste in the middle. Just quickly, careful. There we go.
Looks a bit like the roux sauce.
It looks like what?
The roux sauce.
It does. Now, this is where it can get confusing, because this is, Millie's just said, what's it say, Millie? Shout again.
It looks like the roux sauce.
It looks like the roux sauce. Yeah, it looks like the roux sauce, but it's actually the choux sauce. Now, can you see in the middle there? That's formed. Sorry? Choux, not the choux sauce. It looks like the roux sauce. It's actually choux. Now we're just going to bash that together. Can you see that bashing together? Really hitting it, and it's formed like a ball in the middle. Now it's formed like a gooey mashed potato ball. Okay, all happy, Millie?
Yeah.
Good. Okay, so we've got that one there. Just really beating this one. Millie wants me to do it, so I'll carry on. I'm going to really bash. Now. We've got a couple of things going on here. Not only have we got the gelatinisation, which happened before. What happened? Can you remember what gelatinisation was, Millie? What happened with the sauce?
It
came together? Yeah, it came together and it got thicker. That's absolutely right. That was gelatinisation. Okay, now this one is come together through gelatinisation. But as well as gelatinisation, we have got flour and liquid together and we're beating it. So we're also forming gluten in there, which is really like you would do if you were kneading bread. So we've got that in there. So we've kind of got gluten development. We've got gelatinization, which was that piece in there. And then we've also got in there, we're going to be doing lots of things going on, lots of food science in there. So we've got gluten formed, we've got gelatinization, so it's basically forming a nice thick mass in the middle. All right. Now in with that, we're going to add an egg. Now again, really, really important. When you add the egg in here, you want to beat. An egg means she made me an egg. Look at that, isn't that good? She made me an egg during lockdown. Been painting stones. Not this sort of egg. It's too hard already. We need to get a real egg here, and we're going to get that egg in there, and we're going to beat. Sorry. Yeah, fabulous. Okay. Mia's just going to get some eggs for me there. Oh. The chicken. I can see that in there. Can you see my chicken? And in the chicken, we have got eggs. Where's the eggs? Okay, we've got some eggs there. Right, we're going to put the egg inside the chicken. No, we're not. We're going to put the egg inside the choux pastry. So one big egg here, and again, similar sort of things you can do there with this one. So like we said for the flour, if you can't get hold of eggs, Bid Food do loads of those. Go speak to local people, farms, etc. Then you can still get hold of eggs. You might not be able to get them in the supermarket, but there's loads of ways you can get hold of them during lockdown. Right, egg into there. Do you want me to do it or do you want to do it? I can do it. All right. You're going to beat it then, are you?
Yeah.
If we don't beat it, remember that's hot. And if we don't beat it, what's going to happen to the egg?
It will fry.
It will end up with like frying. It would. We're going to end up cooking the egg. So we don't want to cook the egg. Let's get the egg in there then. Right. Beat it. All of that in together. There we go. Eggshells out. And we're going to beat. She's beating it. We need to get it all combined. Keep beating. She's doing it. All right, you really have to put a lot of energy into this one, okay? So really beat this one together. And the moment it's looking a little bit like scrambled egg. We don't want it to look like scrambled egg. We want it to be a beautiful, smooth choux pastry. So just keep adding the egg and beating it well. Beat. And once you've completed, you're going to have a lovely, smooth choux pastry. Keep doing it. Is it coming together now?
Yeah.
It's coming together. Good. Keep going, Millie. So we've got a choux pastry there, coming together there. Here we go. Keep going. It is really hard. You get a good old workout here. Think of like you're making bread. You're going to have a properly making that one work together there. So properly beat that one together. So then we got the roux and we've got a choux. Okay, and then the great bit is now we can start to combine all those ingredients together to make our final piece. Now, when we combine this, you can either use a spoon to dollop on, or you can use piping. Now, you might think I've not got any piping bags at home. It's fine, don't worry. We can go without piping bags. You can use it with plastic bags. We've got freezer bags. Put them in the freezer bags, snip the corner. That'll work just fine. Okay, we're going to be sandwich bags. Yeah, sandwich bags, freezer bags, sandwich bags. Absolutely right. That would work fine. Put it into that. Snip the end off, and I'll show you how to do that one so that you can end up with a beautiful way of being able to pipe, even though you haven't got any piping bags. So that's fine. Don't worry about that one. How are we doing? Is it formed a lovely smooth? It's getting smooth. It's hard. Do you want me to take over?
Yeah.
All right. So we've got. In fact, that's done. Look at that. Look at that. So we have got a beautiful smooth, and it looks even more like a sauce now.
Yeah.
But they're both going to do very similar, very different sort of things. The sauce. The roux is going to harden in the middle of our pie and form like a quiche, like a soft jelly-like quiche centre with bacon and cheese in it. This, on the other hand, is going to blow up and form lovely puffs. Now, the more air you can beat into this, the better. And it's already got water in it, which is going to expand and form steam and make these rise. But if we can get loads of aeration in from actually stirring it in as well, that would be good. Combine it all together. Okay, that is beautiful and smooth. Keep doing it until you've got a beautiful, smooth centre. That is wonderful.
Yeah.
Wonderful, smooth choux. Okay, I think we've got all the parts. Now we're going to go over to the work area and we're going to construct it all. Okay?
Yeah.
Ready? Do you want to bring the bacon
and
the sauce?
Yeah.
I've got the choux pastry. Let's go and put it all together. Okay. Now, while we're doing this, let me just quickly flick back to the recipe because I'm just passing the oven and we need to do something with the oven. So let me send this one live to you while I do that one. Okay, you're just passing the oven, and we need to make sure we have preheated our oven. Okay, so you need to make sure you preheated your oven to 200 degrees or gas mark 6. Okay, so 200 degrees, gas mark 6 on your oven. So please make sure you've got that one ready to go. And you can see as we go back to our work area. Okay, let's go back to our work area. So we have now done step 1 to 3, which is our sauce making. We need the scissors there to chop those ones up. Yeah. Just over there. We've done 1 to 3, which is our sauce making. We've also just whacked in there a little bit of bacon as well. So we did a little bit of bacon as well, which we're going to stir in with this one. Now we've done the thick paste, which is our choux. We're going to flavour the choux with the mustard powder, and we're going to put a little bit of stock in that one as well. So just to flavour that one, fabulous. Just put a little piece of that in as well. All right, so that's what we're up to, and you can see now what we're going to do is we're going to get to the stage now where we are going to start to construct all of this, which is number 7 up to number 8. Now, if you haven't got a flan dish or a tart dish or a quiche dish, that's fine. You can use metal tins. There's lots of different things you can use. You could use a cake tin if you wanted to. If you've got a small cake tin, that would work well with this. So lots of different things to be able to construct it. And again, if you haven't got a piping bag, you can just spoon it into little circles around the outside, which we call quenelling. But I'll show you a little bit more on that one in a minute. Let's go back to Let's get back to me. Okay, let's go sending live. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and we're back. Hello, we're back over here. Now let's go with the next part. Let's put it in construction. Now, like I said, when you're doing this one, we need to get a tin of some sort, but it can be a variety of tin. I mean, you could. I've got here. Let's have that. We've got like a loose bottom cake tin. Could use one of those. That's absolutely fine. You could use what we're going to do. We're going to use we're going to recycle. So this is an old pie dish that we've just recycled. So we're going to give this one a new lease of life. So don't throw things away when you get food in or food delivered to you at all. Keep these things. Takeaway pots are always good, but this is just an old tin. Just washed it. I'm going to reuse that one. Fabulous. Join us over here, really. So we got the tin there. Now, what we're going to do first of all is going to grease this one. So do you want to grease and line that? So we need to get a little bit of butter in there. So the butter on there. Just going to grease this one to start with. Now, to grease and line a tin, whether it's one of these or a cake tin or a loose bottom tin or whatever tin you're going to be using to do this one, what you do is just get a little bit of grease on there, a little bit of butter on there. Just going to rub that all the way around the sides and the bottom. So we're going to grease that one. Then what we're going to do is we're going to get a piece of. Thank you, Millie. There we go. Once she's done that, we're going to get a little piece of greaseproof paper, and we're going to cut a circle around the greaseproof paper, and that's going to form the basis. And we're going to line the tin with that as well. So all the way around the outside. So you want to, you can go to that. Go get the greaseproof paper as well. I'll put some butter all the way around the outside to make sure this doesn't stick. The last thing we want to do is not be able to get this one out. So I'm just going to grease that one in there. There we go. Just using an old tin here. Recycle, reduce, reuse, recycle. It's good to keep good for the environment. Right. Do you want to that's greaseproof paper? So let's put that there. Got a pen anywhere? No. You haven't got one. Okay, get a pencil. Just grab a pencil. Yeah, pencil. Yeah. Okay. So we just draw around the outside, and then you can cut it out. Okay. So I'm just using a pencil here. I'm just going to draw around the outside there. Okay. So we got ourselves a rough circle on there. You right, Minnie? And so just on the side there. Oh, here. I'll do it. All right, I'll do it. There we go. We're just going to cut around that circle, and that's going to roughly line the base of our tin. Okay, can you still see that on the screen there? A little bit lower. There we go. Do you want to put that in the bottom then, Millie? In it goes into the bottom of our tin. Alrighty. It's all stuck in the bottom there. Fabulous. Greased and lined tin. Nice and simple. Okay, next thing is we need to get our ingredients together. So we've got our let's do our choux pastry first. Now you can use these are some posh piping bags. Ooh. But if you haven't got posh piping bags, which is probably unlikely at home in this lockdown situation, you can use some the freezer bags type things instead. Let me just grab that instead. So I've just got some like sandwich bags there. What you do with a sandwich bag, you're going to fill it up as normal. So we just open that one up. You just grab me that large cup from there, large glass. Sorry, just a drinking glass will be fine, or a jug you can use. Okay, yeah, grab that jug. Grab that metal jug. That'll do us. Yeah, that's right. If you've got a jug or a cup, all you do is you put the corner into that, leaving the top open, and then you fill up your mixture into that, pull it out, and as you would do with a normal piping bag, we then use the end of that as a piping bag, snip the end off, and we can draw and pipe. Piping, high skill at GCSE. We're going to use the posh ones because we've got them here. So, like similar sort of situation. I'm going to put that one inside a jug or a cup. Yeah, you can get your large cup would be fine. Glass will do. Yeah, anything like that, just so they can see what is going on. That's better. So you'll see what's going on. So large cup there. Push that one into the bottom. And then what we do, we're going to just open that up. There we go. You're going to spoon the mixture in. So this is our choux pastry. So that's our choux pastry in. So do you want to hold it and I'll? It's up to you. Which one do? You're gonna get it in. Okay. Okay.
Can't see.
You can't see.
Tell
you what.
Do it
that way. There we go. Now you can see on the camera. In it goes. All of that into there. We're gonna just dollop that all in. Now, if you wanted to. Like I said, what we just did in before I did that was, sorry, I should have shown you. Just put some mustard powder in there, a little pinch of mustard powder is in there. And I also put a little bit of stock. I just crumble some stock in there to flavour our choux. You don't have to, but if you've got that, you can put it in. It just adds a lovely flavour to it. How are we doing, Millie? Nearly all in there. It's just filling up there nicely.
Yeah.
All right. Beautiful. All right. All in?
Yeah.
Okay. So nice and cooled down now. So it's just been cooled down. We then lift the sides of that up, whether using a sandwich bag or a piping bag, or if you haven't got either of those, just scoop spoonfuls of it out. And what I'm doing with this one now, I'm just going to twist that one up. You can see the little air pocket in the bottom now, so we can use the scissors and we can do that one, and we can just form. I'll show you how to do it with a spoon otherwise. I'm just going to snip the end off. Okay, right, Millie, do you want to do that, or shall I do it? You can do it. Okay, and what Millie's going to do here now is going to form little emoji poos all around the outside. Okay, so she's going to squeeze it through, do a little circle. There we are, and pull down. So bit bigger. They were round and round and then up. So we want to get them touching as well. That's more like it. Bigger. That's the size. And she's going to go around and then you're going to fill them in the middle, little gaps where she's missed. There we go, up. Right, really close to the outside. Okay, and go around the gaps in there. So put another one in between each one of those now. Okay, so I'm going to. Oh, can you see on the camera? Oh, yeah, you can just about. I'm going to just go a little bit on the top as well, just to make sure we got it all the way up. We want a nice high pie. Okay. And I'm just going to keep going all the way around the outside of our pie. Okay, you can see we got there around the outside. Now, if you can't do that, if you haven't got a piping bag, that's good. What you could use is 2 teaspoons. And you can use 2 teaspoons with this. And what we do is called quenelling. Now we just do one spoonful of mixture on one from the bowl, and then we just scoop it off the other, and we just keep doing it like that. You've got a nice round ball, and then you can do it there. Now, another option is get a piece of some oil on your hands. You can actually roll them into balls and do that all the way around the outside if you want to as well. So there's a number of different ways you can do this one. I'm just going to put some water in there. Put the water in there. If you, with your peaks, if you want to just smooth them off with a little bit of water on the top, that's fine. But we've got a nice choux pastry there. Nice choux pastry ring. If you've got a little nozzles in there, you can get some quite fancy looking rings. So it'll be interesting to see how we do this one with your choux pastry ring. There we go. Let's put all that choux in there. Now, save a little bit of water on the end of your finger. There we go. And you can just smooth over the tops if you want to, so there's none that are too big. Beautiful. So we have got a choux, our ring there. Now into our ring, we're going to be putting our sauce, our panada roux sauce. So you've got your sauce there?
Yeah. So
we're going to mix in the bacon into your sauce. So we've got the sauce and the bacon. We're going to mix those two together. And then we'll spoon that one into the middle of our mixture, and then we'll get ready to bake that one off. So as a recap, what's going on here? We've got quite a lot of food science. We've got something called gelatinisation, which is the thickening of the sauce, and also is using the thickening of the choux. We've got two types of, we've also got two high skill pieces here. So we've got making of a choux pastry, making an advanced pastry, and we've got making of a sauce. Okay, in this case, we're making a roux sauce. We've made a particular type of roux sauce, so we haven't done a pouring sauce or a coating. We've done a binding sauce, because that's going to bind all the ingredients together, quite a thick one. If you show that to the camera, you show how thick that is. It's actually meant to bind the cheese and the bacon together to form a binding sauce. So that's like a panada sauce. So we've got lots of different things going on here. Some lots of high skill things to form a delicious cheese and bacon pie. All right. So Millie, if you want to, you could actually try the quenelling just to get it out. So do you want to get that one out so we can use, or we just spoon it out? Should we spoon it out? Spoon it out. So we're going to put that into the centre of our pie dish. So there we go. I'll let you, Millie, you can do it. Little spoonfuls. There we go. Big lot in there. It's really no little one in there. Get little ones at a time. Then you can smooth it down in the middle. Try not to touch the choux pastry with this, because if you've done a lovely choux pastry on this one, you want to try and just spoon that one into the middle. It will spread when it cooks. I'm just going to get that one into the middle of it. Well done. A little gougère pie. Lots of different fillings in this one. You could do onion fillings in this. People have done it with onion and before, and also with leek. I've seen it done with leek before, which is lovely. But we're just going to do a cheesy bacony filling there. And remember, tastes delicious. Sorry?
Don't eat it.
Don't eat it. Sorry, I won't eat it. It tastes delicious. Though. It's always good to try your food before you cook it. It's nice to do that. Make sure it's just seasoned correctly, and that's beautifully seasoned. Okay, I'm going to go back to me while Millie does that one. Okay, so you're going to do that one. There we go. Nice. We're not going to need all of that, I don't think. That's good. What we've got there now is we've got a wonderful pie. It's got a pie filling in the middle, which is made with our sauce. You might have made a big one of these. We've just made a little mini one here. So we got our sauce in the middle there, and on the outside, Millie's piped all of her choux pastry there. Now this is going to go into the oven. Like I say, hopefully you preheated your oven at this point. So make sure you preheat your oven, and you want to make sure you preheat your oven to 200 degrees, gas mark 6. Sorry, I'm just cleaning myself down here. So that's ready to go. That's going to go straight into the oven. Don't be tempted. Oh, so before you do that, we're just going to brush it with a bit of egg on the top, so it's got a lovely glaze on the top of that one. Throw a bit of egg wash on there. It's quite nice on there, so you can get that one. So we'll grab another egg on there. If you've not got a paintbrush or a pastry brush, you could always just use your fingers and just go again on the top with that one. We're just going to put that one. Just do a little. It's ready to in the oven. That's good. We're just going to put a little bit of egg wash on there. Grab an egg. I'm going to grab me a little brush from the drawer there. So I'll put my egg in there. Just going to do a little egg wash before we get that one into the oven. Just a little paintbrush will be fine. Otherwise, yeah, we've got pastry brush there. So we got that one into there. Just going to put a little brush on there on top of the choux. Just give it a golden colour. There we go. Look at that beautiful egg yolk on there. Just going to put that over the top. Wonderful. Right, Millie, got your oven gloves? She's got her oven gloves. Perfect. There we go. Into the oven it goes. Well done. So we'll get that one into the oven, and that's going to be cooking for around about 30 minutes. If it's like a decent quiche size, ours probably a little bit less, ours a little bit smaller. So ours probably going to be about 20-25 minutes for us. What you're looking for is it should have a lovely golden brown pie crust. You'll find the pie crust is actually expanded. Okay, it won't be like a traditional crust. It's not going to be a hard crust. This is going to be quite puffed up, light, airy one. The centre is going to be more like a quiche type filling in this one, and that is where you should be at for your piece. So you've got there lots of different things. Just a quick recap of what we've been doing there. So we've been doing pastry, our choux pastry, which formed the ring around the outside. We made a sauce. We made a roux sauce. We flavoured it with cheese and turned it into a Mornay sauce. We didn't do a pouring or a coating, but we did do binding and panada sauce. So we just grab that one. We didn't do that one or that one. We did this one here. Okay, and then we put that one together into our wonderful dishes. Hopefully you've all managed to do that as well. Hope you enjoyed that one and had fun doing it. If you want to watch that again, that's going to be available on YouTube after today. Thank you from me.
Thank you.
Thank you from Millie. Okay, before we go, just one quick one I mustn't forget, because obviously you're cooking at your homes and I don't want to get told off by your folks, is that we need to do one final thing. And that final thing is as you would be doing at school, because it's not quite the end of the lesson anyway yet. So as you would do for school, you need to make sure that at the very end, not only have you baked it, but you need to make sure that you washed up and cleaned up. So can you collect all of the equipment that you've used, wash everything up using the correct methods, dry everything with a clean tea towel, put everything away once you've been checked, not by a teacher, but by whoever's at home. Okay, so make sure you're washing up and clearing up as you go with this one. Very important. It's all part of what we do. Okay, so I'll be checking it in the kitchen. I want you to be checking sure you've done that one. Okay, so finally from me, stay safe, take care, look after yourself and look after others around you. Okay, and we'll see you again very soon. Thank you very much, Year 9s. Bye.